Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rochelle from Rochelle.Handmade.Designs, and in this video we are doing a pattern review for this tribal anorak jacket that I have on utilizing Simplicity 8843. Now before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and also turn on the notification bell so you are notified every time I upload a new video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into this video. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the pattern description for this pattern. So for this pattern, the pattern description says that it's an anorak jacket. It features optional hood, view A and B with zip front closure and pocket variations. You can make this jacket sporty like you see in view C, which you can also use organza. You can also go for a casual look like I did, but by using twill or cotton. Now I use Ankara print in order to do this jacket. All right, so now that I told you about the pattern description for the pattern, let's go ahead and talk about the notions used. So the notions used for this pattern, of course, you will need a 28-inch separating zipper. Now I know on the pattern it says 30-inch zipper, and I purchased a 30-inch zipper. However, it was too long. I had to go back to Joann, switch it out, and use a 28-inch separating zipper. Now Brittany J. Jones does have a tutorial for this pattern, and it is an amazing tutorial if you choose to do this pattern. Simplicity 8843. Another notion that you need is 2 of your cord stops. You also need 2 1/8 yard of, I believe it was a 1/4 inch wide twill tape or some type of drawstring. Now I just use regular fabric, Ankara fabric that I have left over for my drawstring instead of using twill tape because I didn't think that that would look nice. So I'm just going to use the drawstring that I created. All right, now another thing that you need for notions is 7 snaps, 1/2 inch. Now I did use pliers. So I did purchase these pliers, which I will put in the description box below. It was the pliers that I purchased from Amazon. So I'll leave that in the description below, and I'll also tell you something about these pliers here shortly. Now that I talked about the notions used, let's go ahead and get into the fabric used for this pattern. So the fabric used for this pattern, I use 100% Ankara print from SmurffetFabricsShop on Etsy. SmurffetFabricsShop on Etsy. I purchased this fabric back in 2020 during the pandemic, and it took a very long time to get here. I reached out to the shop owner and basically just was like, hey, it's been 2 months. I haven't received my package. What's going on? So, and that was, sent through USPS, and the customer service is amazing. The shop owner went ahead and FedExed me another package, and I told the owner that if I receive the first one, I will go ahead and pay for it because it was already shipped. You know what I'm saying? It's not their fault that USPS was running slow or whatever, So I did pay for the first and the second package. So I did receive 12 yards of this fabric. So far, I want to say I used probably about 7 yards. I have a little bit left that I plan on making a skirt later on this year. But that's the fabric used for this pattern. All right, so let's go ahead and get into pattern pieces used. So this pattern is 11 pieces used. Now I did view A on the pattern. Now I know I don't really need to read all of these pattern pieces to you, but you would need basically your front, your pocket, your flap, your front facing, your back, your casing front, casing back. Then you need the pocket, the hood side, the hood center, and then you need piece number 11, which is your sleeves, in order to create this. However, if you watch the video from Brittany J. Jones, she walks you through how to construct this entire jacket, which, like I said before, Brittany did an amazing job doing that. Yes, I was a little lazy and decided just to use the tutorial instead of reading the instructions, but I did pull out the instructions just to see if the instructions was unclear whatsoever, and really they are not. So yeah, I did pull out the instructions for that matter. So that's the pattern pieces used. Let's go ahead and get into pattern sizing. So the pattern sizing for this pattern goes from extra, extra small to medium, and then large to extra, extra large. So I picked up two patterns. So I picked up the smaller range and the larger range when I first picked up this pattern. There was two problems with me picking it up. So I originally picked up the large, and I figured it was going to be too big based off of my bust measurement. So I went ahead and cut the medium. That's the size that I cut. I cut the medium. But I noticed after cutting the medium, sewing it all together, now on the pattern, it does not give you a hip or a waist measurement. Yes, a hip or a waist measurement. So I just cut the entire medium based off of my bust. And one thing that I noticed is it fits. Yes, it fits, but it does not give me enough room in the hips. So I would always have to wear this jacket open until I lose more inches in the hips, because I'm losing weight as I speak right now. So next time I sew this, I will probably go up to a large, because I do like to have a little bit of room in the hip area, because I have some hips. Your girl got some hips, and tightness when you zipping up a jacket is just not cool. I'd be scared that the zipper is going to break. Now, let me rephrase, not have enough room. It will zip. It is a little tight, meaning that if I sit down, it will rise a little bit, and I don't like that look. So I should have cut a large instead of a medium. Next time I will possibly do that. But the medium does fit and it looks very good. But I think for myself, I should have cut a large in this pattern. All right, so let's talk about modifications. Did I make any modifications? No, I didn't need to make any modifications outside. I mean, it's not really a modification. It's just a style preference. The only thing that I did was, instead of doing the twill tape, I basically created my drawstring, utilizing the fabric, which is the tribal print fabric that I have in my stash. So it calls for 2 1/8 yard of a 1/4 inch. What I did was I did a 1/2 inch bias tape. Basically, I made my own bias tape, a 1/2 inch instead of a 1/4 inch to fit through the casing. And then after I did that, I made it 80 inches long and then tied it and put the cord stop on to make sure that, it's not done. Now, it's not on my jacket right now, simply because I just finished doing that portion of it right before filming. So I just haven't stuck it in the jacket right now, but you will see it pretty soon. All right, so that's the only thing that I did. So let's talk about, did it look like the photos or the drawing on the pattern envelope? Yes, it does. It looks like the photos and the drawing on the pattern envelope. Like I said, I wouldn't say that I love doing this, because it took a very long time. It took me, after I cut out the pattern, I put it aside for about 3 or 4 days. And then after I put it aside for 3 to 4 days, it took me another 3 days to complete it, because I just don't have time to sew for 2 and 3 hours at a time. Majority of the time, I have to break it up into 45 minutes to an hour at a time. And I had other projects to get done, #sewing 5 and below, which is one thing that Talisha and I is doing. So I just did not have time to just sew this jacket, which took a little longer than I expected. So no, I didn't have that time, but I did enjoy the process. Yes, it's just very detailed, and you definitely want to make sure that you are taking your time with your projects. All right. So no, I didn't make any modifications. It does look like the pattern envelope. So let's go ahead and get into, are the instructions easy to follow? Yes. So like I said previously, I did look at the instructions just for the sake of the pattern review. They are easy to follow, but I mean, if you're like me and don't want to read those instructions, just go ahead and go to that tutorial for Brittany J. Jones, which I will go ahead and put in the cards above and in the description box below, so you can see that tutorial that Brittany J. Jones did for this jacket. All right, let's talk about likes and dislikes. I don't have any dislikes whatsoever. This jacket is amazing. It's an easy throw-on jacket. And even though I wanted to do this jacket last year. Now this jacket was on my Make 9. This is the only thing I did not complete for the Make 9 last year in 2021. So I was supposed to sew this December 2021, didn't get around to it. So I put it for January 2022. And to be a part of the So Creative Lounge, you know, finishing up a garment from 2021. I didn't make that happen because I had other things going on in January. So I figured, hey, it'll be perfect to get this done by the time spring break roll around. And spring break starts today. So it was just cool to get it done in order for spring break so I could throw it on those colder nights here in Orlando. But that's the likes and dislikes. There's no dislikes whatsoever. It's all love. All right. All right. Let's talk about my first time experiences because I do have some first time experiences for this pattern. So you guys, I did not have a meltdown, but I had a meltdown during this pattern. So on the portion where Brittany talked about snaps, I thought I had all the tools for these snaps and everything. And the next thing I know, I didn't have the pliers that you need. I did not have the tool kit. So I went online to Amazon and I ordered the pliers that it says in the, I think it was the pattern instruction. Or no, it actually says it on the snaps, what pliers to use. So I do have the pliers. Let me show you the pliers, what they look like. So I should have had these out for you, but these are the pliers that I ordered. I'll go ahead and put these pliers in the description box below if you are interested in buying these, simply because I believe these were like $12, I think, $12 on Amazon. I'll put the ones that I purchased in the description box below so you can purchase. So it was the first time that I have ever done snaps on anything. I do a lot of buttons, but it's the first time that I did a snap and I was so nervous using these pliers because I figured I was gonna put them on too tight. It was gonna be loose, the whole nine. But listen, now that I have tackled snaps, I am not nervous to do snaps whatsoever. You would think because I've been sewing for about 10 years now that your girl have done some snaps. No, I have never done snaps. This is the first garment with snaps. So that was my first time experience and actually I enjoyed it and I will be making more things with snaps as well now that I have my tool. All right, so let's talk about skill level. So for this pattern, I'm going to say the skill level is advanced beginner. Reason being is because you have your snaps, you have separating zipper, you have placket, you have facing. So basically it's not a facing, it's basically for the casing in order to make your drawstring. You have that. I mean, it is a lot of pieces. Like you have your shield right here. So it's 11 pieces. So for my beginners, I wouldn't say that this is beginner friendly, but I feel that a beginner who have had knowledge in sewing and know different techniques in sewing, intermediate could definitely do this pattern. Advanced could definitely do this pattern. But if you are like a first time beginner, you have not done a lot of different patterns, I would not say this would be one that you want to tackle. However, Brittany's video is very thorough and very clear. So if you are a beginner and you just want to get some techniques underneath your belt, this would be a pattern that I would not say dive right into, but I would definitely say after you learn different things, being a beginner. When I say beginner, I'm talking about you are new to sewing. I would not tackle this pattern. I'll wait about a year or two, get some experience. I mean, and then some of you beginners are fast paced, you know, like you can pick things up really quickly. So if you feel that you're comfortable doing snaps and all that good stuff, by all means, go ahead and tackle this pattern, all right? Because this is a good one, and I will be making this pattern 2 or 3 times. So speaking of 2 or 3 times, would I sew it again? Yes. And I have plans to make this again. I know my sister wants this jacket after I told her that it was a little tight in the hip. She wants it. I'm not giving it to her. I will let her wear it whenever we meet up. Once again, it's been a couple of years, but I do have plans to make at least 1 to 2 more. One for sure. 2 is kind of pushing it, but 1 for sure. So yes, I would sew this again. All right, so let's talk about what I recommend this to others. Yes, I would definitely recommend this to others. Like I said previously, beginners, I would not. I'm not going to steer you away from doing this pattern. However, I would say take caution and get a lot of whatever you sip on. I'm not recommending any alcohol or any of that stuff. But sip and sew, whether that be water, coffee, tea, alcohol, you name it, you know what you do. But yes, you're going to be needing to sip and sew like I did doing this jacket. All right. So yes, I would recommend it to others. So let's talk about my pattern rating. So my pattern rating for this pattern is a 5 out of 5. This is another pattern that I could stamp 5 out of 5. Approval from Rochelle. I mean, this pattern is amazing. Like I want to make another one now, but I don't have time to make another one now. But that's all that I have in this pattern review. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you are notified every time I upload a new video. So I'll catch you in the next video, and as always, keep sewing.